Hello everyone, today you will see a showcase of my latest 3D project, a scooter from Volta. I will show you a little bit about my process from modeling with good topology and airflow into UVs and some tips for making high quality vehicle assets, to realistic texturing to the final result. So, before start, I will talk a little about me. My name is Douglas Carpes, I'm a 3D hard surface artist and a vehicle specialist. I have 6 years of experience as a 3D artist in the gaming industry. So, let's talk about the project. I choose Volta Yide because it's a type of vehicle that is becoming very used currently and being very popular. There's a lot of reference from communities sharing their scooters being fixed and customized. Sometimes it's hard to find a useful reference image of some vehicles or from hidden pieces, but this time it was easier because of this factor. As you already know, my main modeling package is Blender, but before we get started, I would like to give a little description on my modeling style. I like to create the models from scratch, so my modeling is based on mesh building, so I'm fully focusing on topology and airflow for a subdivision workflow. This modeling style is very powerful because with few modifiers and technique you can achieve amazing results. I won't be breaking down the full whole process, but I will highlight some parts which I found interesting and simpler to share with you guys. If you want to see the full modeling process, you can check out the time-lapse in the description. For this project, I only had this one reference with less perspective. So I started with the wheels because it's a good base to get the whole scooter proportion. One of the things I use a lot is instantiating objects. As you can see, I left the original object in the correct place, then instantiate it to model the details. This allows me to model and modify the mesh anytime. I used curves for the wires and wire covers to keep things in a non-destructive way. For this break and any objects like this with a lot of patterns, I like to start blocking it to find the patterns by counting them. In this case, I'm counting how many holes it has and dividing by 360 degrees to get the only part I need to model and exact angle I need to use it to array it in the radial mode. I know it's kinda scary to watch depending on the shape of the pattern. It's a very technical skill, but I hope you could understand the simple idea behind it. I see a lot of models on the internet that the people leave the parts separated or even use other objects to fake weld parts. Most of the time I see this is a bad practice. For modeling in a good topology, you always need to base it in the real life, even for stylized or realistic modeling. Try this. Think the object in the real life. If it's separated, you model it separated, but if it is welded, sure, model it welded. CS for now, I leave it separated, but at the end I am welding it. As you can see, the most of the modeling is done in the regular modeling way, inserting, extruding, making new loops and moving vertices. The body of the scooter struggled a little to find a better way to model it. I instantiated, used modifiers with vertex groups divided in 3 parts. It took some time to adjust things to make the shape the best way as possible for holding the complex pattern it has. While I was making the brakes, I realized that being a complex shape, it would take a lot of time to model from scratch, while thinking of the topology. So I blocked the shapes using booleans and remesh, so then I could retopologize for the final piece. For the side stand, I couldn't find any close-up reference, but since these types of scooters are very popular, I got to find some reference of these universal pieces. The same for the side stand sensor. For this project, I decided to use only 4 textures, For that, I prioritized unwrapping my meshes in the horizontal direction, so it's easier and more practical if you want to make any details or add texts. After those decisions, I ended up with 2048 of textile density for the 4 textures. My main UV unwrapping tool is RizomUV. For the IDs, I used vertex colors for separate the materials. A tip for a good tool is using Super Batch Export for exporting all the objects at once if you have a big project like me with a lot of objects. You will only need to select everything and configure what you need and then press Batch Export. Now, for the baking, not much secrets. I just used Quick Loader and because I named everything correctly, it was pretty easy. After baking, in Marmoset, I opened the Substance Painter to start the texturing process. All my baking process is done in Marmoset, only the world space normal and position I prefer to bake inside Substance. It just feels like the software handles better. For the texturing, there's no much chips since it's a very intuitive and building process where I try to match the materials and the image references. But one thing I can give you advice is to start the iteration with Marmoset right before you start texturing. Switching between Substance and Marmoset will help you with visualizing how your texturing is being handled in real time and in the render. Rendering is again a process of trial and error, especially if you are less creative in presenting your work. So, references is going to be your main weapon. Gather as much render inspiration you have in your pull ref, even use your own work as reference. As I said, it's a process of experimenting with aces, cameras, light, effects, sharp and depth of field. It's what I am also studying to get better at. But one thing I can guarantee you, what will give you a beautiful render is to have an amazing model and exceptional texture. Well, that's basically my complete process for this project. I highlighted that I felt that was a more interesting. I hope you liked the video and that the breakdown helped in any way. The final workstation project is in the description. If you want to see more, follow me on my socials. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks for watching.